for a home football game here at Case Field.
Well, 2 years ago when Chicago came in, it was a rain, mist, sleety afternoon, so much better than 2 years ago.
Sam Coffey booms the kick back to the 3-yard line, and it'll be returned by the Maroons, carried back by Clay Wolf, their primary return specialist. He gets out just across the 20 before he's chopped down, and that's where the Maroons will take over as we start play today.
Well, Greg Meyer came down on coverage untouched, made a little move to get through the wedge, and it was just him and alone in the, what would you call the return secondary. Made a nice open field tackle, and we'll have the Maroons starting deep in their own territory.
They'll start out spotting the football on their own 22-yard line. The quarterback is a sophomore, Marshall Oyam. He's out of Temecula, California. Started out the season as their backup QB, but was inserted into the lineup last week when senior starter John Kiernan turned an ankle. Kiernan is available for action today, but Oyam gets the start. Francis Adarkwa, the freshman tailback, gets the first carry of the day, hits the line of scrimmage for no gain. 2nd down and 10 for the University of Chicago here. We're just underway at Case Field. Spartans 7-0, Chicago 2-4. Oyam calls out the signals, 2 receivers, 1 on each side. They'll flip this one back, tailback carrying it. It's Joe Steelman this time, and Steelman is tripped up as he tried to cut back inside, and it'll be a long 3rd down, Ed, as that one lost a couple of yards.
Well, for Case, they came out and showing a 4-man front with Brian Calderon not playing the last couple of games due to a knee injury. Case has shown a 4-man front. Today they started with John Genovese, Jake May, Dale English, and Rich Julin up front. And that's going to pose some problems. Teams not used to seeing Case out of their 3-3-5 base defense, but the 4-man front has really stopped the run the last 3 weeks.
They bring in an extra receiver for this play. Oyam calling out the play at the line of scrimmage. Not sure if he checked off or not. He drops back to throw, guns it down the middle of the field, and it's incomplete. He's looking for Mike Emerson, the tight end, who has 7 catches on the season, but overthrows the target, and that brings 4th and 11, and the Maroons will have to punt.
Well, the Case defense gets off to a hot start. See if the offense can respond in the same kind of way. Offense in the first half this year has been outstanding, Dave. They've just really put teams away in the first 30 minutes, and they've put it in cruise control for the final 30.
Here comes the punt, and it is on its way out toward midfield. Bobby Bott asks for the fair catch and makes it at the Case 43-yard line. Nice punt sent out there by Ryan Verissimo, and the Spartans will have their first offensive possession. They marked the fair catch at the 42. So here come the Spartans, and we'll throw out some numbers here, Ed, as far as what Case has done in the first half of games this year. Well, and it really is eye-popping.
Yeah, 228 points in the first half. They've given up just 7. That's a 221-point difference. 2 tight ends set to start the ball game, Dave.
DJ Sutka in motion. They will hand this one to Derek Bush, and he is tripped up as he collides with Dan Whalen. So the handoff was secure, but then Bush tripped over Whalen's leg as he was trying to make his way upfield. So they lose 3 on that play. 2nd down and 13. Dan Whalen, the 6'1 junior out of Willoughby, Ohio. 14 of 20 for 219 yards, 3 touchdown passes last week in the 50-14 win against Hiram College. Whalen from the shotgun will fire it out to Metalsitz. He makes the catch across midfield and knocked out of bounds.
Well, Metalsitz and Kolesar ran a little cross underneath, and Metalsitz came to the outside. Kolesar to the inside and really ran an inadvertent pick, whether by design or not. And it opened up the flat area for Metalsitz, who caught it, turned it upfield, and picked up the first down for Case. Interesting matchup this afternoon, Dave, is going to be Dan Whalen and his passing efficiency, which is in the 170s, against a Chicago defense. Pass-wise, their defense is ranked 36 or 32nd in the country. So inside game within the game.
First and 10, Case. Whalen will keep this one to the 45, cuts to the outside, gets to the 40, and he's knocked down and out of bounds. Ridden out by Todd Young, the strong safety out of Clive, Iowa. Whalen picks up about 8 on that carry. It's second down, a long 2 for Case from the Chicago 39-yard line.
Derek Bush has checked out. Corey Checken in the ball game. Checken missed last week's game. So glad to see Corey Checken back on the field.
Checken is the lone man in the backfield. Zach Homick and Metalsitz line up wide left. Colasar and Nicely wide right. Whalen hands up the middle, and it is going to go for the first down and more as Corey Checken rumbles through the line and gets across the 30-yard line before he's finally tripped up.
That's 10 yards of just carrying Maroons down the field.
Corey Checken, the 5'8 junior out of Georgetown, PA, came in with 186 yards rushing on 35 attempts and 7 touchdowns. Stays in the game at fullback, and Greg Meyer checks in at tailback now for Case. First and 10 from the 28-yard line. They'll go back and hand to Meyer, cutting around the outside, slips through a seam and dives down close to the 20-yard line. So Greg Meyer makes his initial carry in the ball game a good one. 41 carries, 221 yards coming in.
And Matt Sargent on the tackle for Chicago just wrapped up Meyer and almost put him into the turf, almost like a bulldog move. Grabbed him around the helmet with his forearms and fell forward.
Whalen glances over to the sideline to get the play sent in. Working in the shotgun, Corey Checken to Whalen's right. 4 receivers set. They'll go to Checken. He makes his way up the middle looking for the first down marker. He needed to get to the 19, maybe the 18-yard line, and it looks like he has enough for the first down. Corey Checken's second carry of the day, and it is a first down. They'll move the chains. So the Spartans marching down to the Chicago 17 with 10-12 to go here in the first quarter. No score. They swing it out to Metalsitz. He makes the catch as he's falling down inside the 15-yard line.
That was a hot read for Dan Whalen. Blitz was coming. Ryan Briand did a nice job stepping up, taking on the blitzer. Whalen able to roll to his right and get rid of the ball quickly for about 3 yards.
We are at Case Field today. Spartans and the Chicago Maroons in UAA play. First quarter action, no score. That play to Metalsitz, his second catch of the day, goes for 4 yards. Second down and 6. They'll hand this one to Greg Meyer, and he pounds his way forward down to the 10-yard line. Pickup of close to 3. It'll be third down for the Spartans.
Corey Checken a little frustrated with himself. He had an opportunity to lead that play through the hole, and as he got up near the line, looked like he stumbled over one of the offensive lineman's legs and wasn't able to throw the lead block for Meyer.
Beautiful afternoon here, mostly cloudy now, but temperatures in the mid-50s to start the game today. And Case working from the Chicago 10-yard line, third down and 3. Whalen directing traffic, 4 receivers, tight formation. Meyer, the lone man in the backfield, 2 yards to the left of Dan Whalen. The snap comes back to Whalen in the gun, looking to the end zone, fires to the corner. It's Nicely. He catches it. It's a touchdown, Spartans. 10-yard touchdown pass for Dan Whalen. Whalen's 15th touchdown pass of the season, and the Spartans jump on the board 6-0.
Well, everything on that play was designed to come to the left side of the formation. Even the receivers lined up on the right all came to the middle of the field on their route. So really flooded the left side of that left half of the field. Whalen with multiple choices.
The sophomore kicker, Sam Coffey, on to attempt the extra point. The kick is on its way. The signal is good, and the Spartans have a 7-0 lead with 8:51 to play here in the first quarter. We'll step away for a 30-second timeout. We'll be back after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Maroons have the early 7-0 lead here with 8:51 to go in the first quarter. The drive capped by a 10-yard Whalen pass to Sean Nicely. And the Spartans had moved down the field very methodically there with the mix of pass and run, and Whalen finishes it off with a touchdown pass to one of his favorite targets.
Well, it couldn't be a better start for the Spartans. They force a 3-and-out on defense, get the ball near midfield, and the offense goes down very businesslike to put up 7 more points.
Kickoff will be taken at the 7-yard line by Clay Wolf, and he is upended at the 20-yard line. 13-yard return for Wolf, and the Maroons will come out down a touchdown. By the way, Sean Nicely came into today's game with 70 career receptions. That touchdown catch, his 22nd of the season, and now number 71 in his young Case career. The Maroons offense comes back onto the field. Francis Adarkwa is calling out the signals at quarterback right now.
A 5-2 defense for Case.
Adarkwa gets the direct snap, tries to turn the right corner, and he is cut down. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. So they bring out the freshman, Francis Adarkwa, the 5'10 freshman out of Wheaton, Illinois.
What's that popular formation called now? The Wildcat offense?
He will stay in. He's in the backfield with Steelman, the fullback. They send out 3 receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Adarkwa will take the snap again, fake the handoff to Steelman. He'll try to go to the left side this time. He is met by Luis Gonsalves and a host of Spartan defenders, and they knock Adarkwa down well behind the line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd down. And the first 2 plays in this particular approach, Ed, has not been successful for the Maroons.
No, they tried to stretch the field both directions, left and right. On that play, Rich Doolin really forced it to go even wider. And as Adarkwa turned the corner, he was staring right at Luis Gonsalves, who made a nice open field tackle for the loss.
7:37 to go here in the first quarter, 7-0 Case. Conference opener today here at Case Field. Adarkwa gets the snap, tries to run upfield. He's tripped up, picked up about 3 before he was upended, and it'll bring about a punt for the Maroons.
Jeff Brown on that tackle for Case, right at the bottom of the pile.
Jeff Brown, the leading tackler for the Spartans going into today's action. Ryan Verissimo will be back to kick this one, and Bobby Bott deep for Case. The snap is good. They come after the kick, but if Verissimo gets a high spiraling kick off, and Bobby Bott loses the football. He asked for the fair catch. It bounced off his hands. It's recovered by the Maroons at the Case 41-yard line.
I think Bott sensed the pressure coming from his left side, turned his body as he went to catch the football, went right through his hands, and ended up on the ground where Chicago recovered. And that's a rarity for Case. They have just 6 turnovers now on the season. They came into the ballgame plus 17 and leading the country in turnover ratio. Chicago was -3 coming into the ballgame.
So the Maroons will stay in the formation where Adarkwa is getting these snaps. They'll go to Wolf, the receiver, on a handoff. He turns around the left corner, gets across the 35 to the 30 and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. So the Maroons finally break free with some yardage on that play. Clay Wolf carrying the football. Wolf, their top receiver with 34 receptions on the season. 5'11" sophomore out of St. Louis. He runs for the first down. Picks up 12 yards on the play. 6.5 to go, first quarter. 7-0 Case. Maroons with the football. They'll do the reverse. Adarkwa took the snap, hands it off to Wolf. He'll be slung out of bounds by Jeff Brown. Deep behind the line of scrimmage, this play will lose about 6 yards all the way back to the 34.
Well, Wolf stuck his arm out. He wanted to stiff arm Jeff Brown, and Brown whipped him around like he was a hammer in the hammer throw and threw him out of bounds.
Maroons will send a new play in with Adarqua with 6:15 to go here in the first quarter. Case with the lead 7-0 on a 10-yard touchdown pass from Whalen to Nicely. Adarqua calls out the signals. He'll take the snap, run it right up the middle to the 30. Hit, still on his feet. Bott has a hold of him. He gets back across the 25-yard line and down to the 24. It'll be short of the first down. Third down coming up. The third member of our broadcast crew is on the sideline, Nick Stroud. Let's go down to Nick.
Signs into his hair before the game. I saw his head without his helmet today, and he's got Tomcat written in his head, and that's in reference to Tom Kaufman, the linebacker coach from last year for Case Western Reserve, who's now the defensive coordinator for the University of Chicago. So Jeff Brown showing his props to his old coach.
Adarqua dives ahead for a couple of yards on the third down play, but he is short of the first down, and so it's fourth and about 3 here, Ed, as they mark the football at the 21-yard line, and they'll set up for a field goal.
This will be a long field goal. It'll be almost 40 yards and into a pretty good breeze, too, Dave. That's maybe a 10 or 12 mile an hour out of the north.
Ryan Verissimo is the field goal kicker. He is 1 for 2 on the season. His long is a 33-yarder. The kick is up, and it is going to be good. 39-yard field goal for Ryan Verissimo, and that gets the Maroons on the board as they take advantage of the turnover, and they close the gap to 7-3. We'll keep it here during the changeover.
Well, the Maroons are now just the second team this season to put points on the board in the first half against Case. Oberlin, the only other team to score in the first half against the Spartans so far this season.
That'll officially be a 38-yard field goal for Ryan Verissimo. That's his season high, his second field goal of the year. 7-3, Case leading it. As we said, Case in the first half this year, coming into play today, had outscored opponents 228-7. Right now they lead at 7-3 here with 4:46 to go in the first quarter. Spartans ranked 11th in the nation by the American Football Coaches Association, 13th in the country according to the D3Football.com website, which is regarded as an authority on college football at the Division III level. Here is the kickoff from Jeff Schaefer, a high driving kick back to the 20-yard line. It'll be taken by Metalsitz to the 25-30, 35-40. He's tripped up at the 42-yard line. Nice return by Metalsitz, about 23 yards on the return for the freshman. And the Spartans will come back out again with good field position.
Well, right up near midfield where they started before. 43-yard line to start their first drive, 42-yard line to start this drive.
Great to have you with us today for our broadcast coverage of Case Western Reserve football. The UAA opener here today at Case Field against the University of Chicago Maroons. Dan Whalen back out on the field for the Spartans. 2 receivers on the right. That's Colasar and Metalsitz. 2 on the left, Holmick and Nicely. Whalen flushed out of the pocket. Now he stays on his feet, fires it to midfield. It's caught by Nicely. And Whalen buys enough time for Nicely to get open over the middle, and he makes the catch just inside Maroon territory at the 49.
Well, Whalen did a nice job just kind of jumping around in the pocket, not really releasing, but still able to find his footing, look downfield, and find Nicely for about an 8-yard gain.
4 minutes to go, first quarter here at Case Field. They'll hand this one up the middle to Corey Chekin on 2nd and 1. Chekin dives ahead looking for the first down. And I'm not sure if he got it. The spot looks to be a little bit short. 3rd down and 1. A no-gain dive for Corey Chekin.
Well, they were showing blitz, and Corey White, the linebacker for Chicago, came through and really made contact with Chekin before he could get himself going.
Bill Deitman is checked in. DJ Sutka the tight end in motion. Whalen will go back, fakes a handoff to Deitman. Bootleg as he rolls out to the right side. Lots of running room across the 45, down near the 41, and out of bounds. First down for the Spartans as Whalen keeps it himself as he rolled out to the short side of the field, Ed, and he had some good running room in front, and he stepped out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
Well, the Maroons overplayed the run on that play on 3rd and short, and Whalen, when he rolled to his right, had options not only to keep the football, but Sutka had released and was downfield. He had the option to toss it out to DJ Sutka for a bigger gain as well. Whalen chose to keep it in case moves the chains.
Coming into today's game, Whalen had rushed for 162 yards on 39 attempts. Whalen will go back and look to throw. Dumps it over the middle. That is caught by Metalsitz to the 30, out to the 25, and out of bounds. Ridden out by Frank Chor, the free safety out of Orland Park, Illinois. Metalsitz makes the catch. That's his 3rd reception of the day. This one all the way down to the Maroon 23.
It's amazing that the Case receivers are able to get that wide open, and Metalsitz had probably 4 steps on Chor on a crossing route, with Chicago playing with 6 defensive backs in the ball game. They're in a dime package. They've been that way for most of this drive.
Metalsitz, the freshman out of North Royalton. He is making quite an impact for the Spartans this year. Now has 11 catches on the season. They'll fake a handoff to Deitman. In fact, they do give it to Bill Deitman. He dives over the right tackle down close to the 20-yard line. Deitman, coming into the ball game, had put up some terrific numbers for the Spartans. The sophomore out of Mentor, 241 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Had 52 yards on the ground last week against Hiram College.
Well, and that's the right call in that situation. 5 offensive linemen. There's 3 down linemen and 2 linebackers. That's 1 apiece. Deitman should be able to get himself some room when Chicago goes to their dime package.
Whalen from the shotgun has Derek Bush in the backfield. Whalen checks off now at the line of scrimmage. 4 receivers set, running that tight formation again. Whalen drops back to throw, goes to Bush out of the backfield to the 20, down to the 15, out of bounds at the 12-yard line on the screen pass to Derek Bush. Bush, the sophomore out of Katanning, PA, with a nice catch and run, and the Spartans again knocking on the door, leading it by a score of 7-3.
You know, Chicago showing the respect for Dan Whalen, his ability to get the ball vertical down the field. Those defensive backs' first step is always backwards.
Quick snap back to Whalen. They'll go to Bush. Tries to turn the corner. He's out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by Danny Polineski, the free safety.
Well, and to finish that thought, with the defensive backs backing up, the receivers running deeper routes, that leaves the underneath stuff wide open, and it was the case with Bush catching the ball in the flat, had a lot of room in front of him when he hauled it in from Whalen.
1:19 and counting here in the first quarter. The sun peeps back out from behind the clouds here on a gorgeous fall afternoon at University Circle. Dan Whalen calls out the signals again. DJ Sutka in motion. He'll take the handoff. Whalen will roll out wide open. Ball is tipped around off of Sutka's hands. It's intercepted. Picked off by John Koshin, the freshman safety. Sutka out of the backfield as Whalen rolled out to the right. Turned around to catch that pass. It bounced off his hands up into the air. And Koshin right there to haul it in on the interception, the second turnover of the day against the Spartans, with 54 seconds now left here in the first quarter.
I think Dan Whalen was shocked to see how wide open DJ Sutka was on that play. He actually threw the ball a little behind Sutka and down towards his knees. Sutka not able to come up with it, and Chicago takes over inside their own territory.
They'll keep this one on the ground as Steelman carries as they start on the 8-yard line, deep in their own territory. So the turnover comes at a favorable spot on the field. The clock continues to move with 35 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. 7-3 Case. The Maroons took advantage of the earlier turnover on the fumble and turned that into 3 points. Adarkwa is still at quarterback. The freshman keeps it. Dives over the 10 down close to the 12-yard line, and that'll probably be the final play of the first quarter. 7-3, the Spartans leading it after the first 15 minutes of play here at Case Field today. We'll step away for this timeout. Second quarter action is coming up next, right here on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Oh, no. Hey, Kevin, are you there? Okay, I don't know if Nick explained this to you. If we miss breaks during the quarters, just save them and work them into halftime or postgame. So, this is fine. Go ahead and run the Intercontinental here. But then our next break during the second quarter, we'll jump down to break 6, the Quiznos spot. Okay, yeah, no problem at all. Just any we miss, just stock them up and play them in the halftime or postgame. We start in the second quarter. The Maroons with the football at their own 13-yard line. It's 3rd down and 5.
Well, the Case defense has done a nice job, holding down the Chicago offense. Case offense has made a couple of mistakes in that first quarter. Otherwise, this could be out of hand already.
Jeff Brown coming on a blitz. Darkwood keeps it, is knocked down over on the far side as he tries to turn the right corner. Nice defensive play by Rich Doolin, who got in there and upended Adarkwa on the 3rd down play. That one goes for 1 yard. It's 4th down and 4. And the Spartans should get good field position out of this as Bott will set up at the 50-yard line to receive this punt from Verissimo.
After the first quarter of play, Chicago had 25 yards in total offense, all on the ground. Case with 107, 67 through the air.
The punt is blocked. Ball loose at the 5-yard line. It's recovered by the Maroons, and the Spartans will take over, and they will have it on the 7-yard line.
So almost no harm, no foul on the interception by Dan Whalen, as the Spartans take over right about the spot where Sutka would have made the reception.
Jeff Brown getting in there and getting a hand on that blocked punt. The snap was high, and Verissimo could not get it off. So the Spartans take over. The football is on the Chicago 6-yard line.
And the Spartans have owned the second quarter this year, Dave. They've outscored their opponents 138-0.
They will hand this football off to Meyer, making for the right side as he strings it out. He's in for the touchdown. Greg Meyer runs it in from 6 yards out, and the Spartans extend the lead now to 13-3.
Nothing fancy about the play, just a simple basic sweep play to the right side. Couple of lead blocks out there from his offensive lineman. Chris Center out in front. Meyer turned the corner and went untouched into the end zone.
So Greg Meyer runs in for his 4th touchdown of the season. And the Spartans have a 13-3 lead. Sam Coffey out for the PAT. Colasar with the hold. Coffey with the kick. It is up. It is good. And the Spartans have a 14-3 lead with 14:14 to go here in the second quarter. We'll step away for a 30-second timeout. More second quarter action coming next on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. kick will be handled by Adarkwa at the 14-yard line. Still on his feet as he tries to reverse direction back to the middle of the field. He's tackled at the 17-yard line, maybe up to the 18. That's where the Maroons will take over as they trail now 14-3 following the Greg Myers 6-yard touchdown run after the blocked punt. And again, Jeff Brown right in the middle of things, Ed.
Well, it seems to be the way it is with Jeff Brown. He's always around the football, and whether or not that's on special teams or on the defensive side. Brown today leads the team in tackles. He has 3 unassisted tackles so far this afternoon, 2 assists, and 1.5 tackles for loss already.
14-3 Case, 14:08 to go, second quarter. New quarterback is in for the University of Chicago. It's John Kiernan, their senior, who injured his ankle last week, and he is going to be knocked down as he tried to run out of the pocket, wrapped up by John Genovese.
It'll be a sack for Genovese as a team now, Case with 19 sacks. They also have 55 tackle for losses on the season this year, so a swarming defense, but they're very aggressive. Another key that's been to the success of the Case defense is they tend to stay at home. They don't bite on a lot of the counters or misdirection, so they're in position to make those tackles behind the line of scrimmage when the razzle-dazzle comes from the opponent.
Kiernan is a 6'2 senior out of Joliet, Illinois. Quick drop, throws it out into the flat. I believe it was incomplete. Ball was trapped by Clay Wolf, trying to throw it out. Almost a backwards pass there, but it is ruled incomplete anyway. 3rd down and 13 now.
Very close to being a lateral, making it a live ball.
Case will set up now with an extra defensive back in there. 3rd down and 13. Kiernan, injured on the second possession last week against Denison, is back in there today. He'll take the snap and drop back. Play action handoff to Adarkwa. He fumbles the football. It goes right to the hands of Clay Wolf, the wide receiver, and Wolf is leveled at the 20-yard line.
Gonsalves and Brown in there with the initial contact, knocked the ball loose. And fortunate for Chicago, it bounced right back up to one of their players on the inside.
It came right to Wolf, and he was like, what is this thing, and why do I have it right now? And then he was hit and knocked down at the 20-yard line. So the punt from Verissimo will come at about his 5-yard line. They come after the punt, but he gets it away. Bobby Bott at the 45 makes the catch. He'll try and return it, but he's hit at the 47. He loses the football. It's on the ground, and the Maroons have it. The ball poked away from Bobby Bott and recovered by Steve Franciscelli out of Murraysville, PA.
That's 3 turnovers for the Spartans in about 18 minutes. They only had 5 coming into the ball game today.
Bott tried to return the punt and had a man on his back, finally had the ball poked loose, and Franciscelli was right there to jump on it. The Maroons recover on their own 49-yard line. 1st and 10, 12:35 to go here in the second quarter. 14-3 Case. We're at Case Field today for Division III football. Adarkwa is back in the game, sidesteps a tackler, makes it to the outside across the 40, dives down close to the 35-yard line. Adarkwa with a nice run, the freshman. Comes in averaging 63.5 yards a game for the University of Chicago. Quarterbacking this team again on this series. He picks up a 1st down. They'll mark him down at the 37-yard line.
You have to wonder how effective Adarkwa is at throwing the football, or is Chicago becoming truly one-dimensional with him in the ballgame at quarterback?
They'll go to the fullback, Steelman. He has running room across the 30, down close to the 27-yard line before he is wrapped up and knocked down. Tackle made by Mike Pelyak to stop the progress of Joe Steelman. Another 1st down. They'll move the chains, and they mark the football at the 27-yard line of Case. Under 12 to play now in the second quarter. We'll be checking in with Nick Stroud momentarily. 14-3 Spartans. 3 turnovers today against Case. They'll go to Adarkwa on the direct snap. He runs over left tackle, gets down to the 23-yard line before he's brought down by Lisa Sala and Jeff Brown.
Brad Paramore was first there, but put his head down and dove towards Adarkwa's ankles. Adarkwa just simply hurdled him, picked up an extra 4 yards. Case is now shifted with Adarkwa a quarterback. Case has brought in an extra defensive lineman. Dan Fody will come in. Case going with a 5-3 and only 3 defensive backs.
Looks like Dick Maloney is going to call a timeout. Maloney, the 15-year head coach of the University of Chicago, he takes a timeout. And we will as well. 11-10 to go here in the second quarter. 14-3 Spartans. We'll be back with more action from Case Field after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Back at Case Field, 11-10 to go here in the second quarter. Case defensively looking at a 2nd and 6 for the Maroons right now. Adarkwa calling out a new play at the line of scrimmage. Steelman is in the backfield. The freshman, Francis Adarkwa, takes the snap, runs straight ahead. He's going to be getting away from a tackler, still on his feet, and gets across the 15-yard line. Brad Paramore finally brings him down, and it looked like they had him wrapped up in the backfield, Ed, but he got away and picked up about 6 more yards.
Well, Case had the right defense in there, 5 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. They were prepared for the run, but you can be prepared all you want. If you don't tackle and wrap up and drag a player down, then you're going to be in trouble defensively.
10:51 to go, second quarter, 14-3, Case. Chicago operating in Case territory now at the 13-yard line. Spartans leading it by 11. They'll go to Wolf. He runs around the 10, around the left corner to the 5, and he's in for a touchdown. Clay Wolf, the wide receiver, a 13-yard touchdown run, and the lead is cut now to 14-9 with the PAT to follow. And the Maroons come up with the reverse to the wide receiver, Clay Wolf. Wolf running that one in, his first rushing touchdown of the season, his 5th touchdown overall. Verissimo on to try the extra point. The snap is good, the hold is as well. The kick is up and it is good. And the lead is 4 now for Case as Chicago closes the gap to 14-10. 10:37 to go here in the second quarter. We'll take a 30-second timeout. Back after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Coming up at halftime today, our guests on our halftime show will be Lisa Sala, junior quarterback, linebacker of the Case Western Reserve Spartans. We'll visit with Lee. And also we'll talk swimming here at Case Western Reserve University with senior swimmer John Somerville of the Spartans swim team. That's all coming up at halftime. Here's the kickoff. Bott at the 10-yard line, 15, 20, 25, hits the pile, and he's dragged down at the 27-yard line. And the Spartans offense will come out, leading it by a score of 14-10 with 10:30 to go here in the second quarter. Bott slow getting up, favoring that right leg as he comes limping off the field.
Well, Bott stretched out to get some extra yardage, and I think he had somebody either laying on his ankle or a hold of his ankle, and it twisted or pulled a calf muscle as he was trying to get the ball out near the 30-yard line.
Bott, not only the return specialist, but 5 interceptions on the season as well as a defensive back. Spartans will get set defensively. Sutka at tight end lines up on the right side of the formation. Metal sits wide left, 2 receivers wide right. Cowdrick in the slot, quick out to Metal sits. He makes the catch, but he is leveled there, double teamed and driven to the ground near the 28-yard line. That play will lose 2.
You know, Chicago brought a blitz, and they weren't fooled by the little wide receiver bubble screen. It's become a staple of the Case offense.
University of Chicago, by the way, 11-7 all-time against Case. Although Case won last year in convincing fashion, 35-3. Whalen from the shotgun. Meyer is in the backfield. Whalen rolls out to the right, looking downfield. Now he'll reverse direction, running the wrong way. He'll try and get rid of the football. It's deep downfield, and it is going to be incomplete. Cowdrick and Brian Webster converging in the same spot, trying to get open. And Cowdrick with a diving attempt, Webster diving for it as well, may have screened each other somewhat. The pass is incomplete, but Case dodges a big bullet there, and not only from the standpoint that Whalen was able to go ahead and get rid of the football and avoid a sack at the 5-yard line, but also that ball was not intercepted.
Well, Whalen threw that ball almost 50 yards in the air, running away from, or throwing it away from him. He was rolling to his left, throwing with his right arm.
9:44 to go, second quarter. Whalen back to throw, stationary in the pocket. This time goes to Webster at the 35, out to the 40-yard line, and he is hit hard by Danny Polineski.
Going to be very close to a first down, and Webster looked like he almost stopped as he approached the football, or approached the first down marker.
It is going to be a little short, 4th down, and about half a yard. And we'll see what the Spartans elect to do. Looks like they will go for it. They'll bring in that 2 tight end set of Bryce Coleman and DJ Sutka. Greg Meyer in the backfield. Whalen will try and get it himself as he dives ahead, and I don't know if he got it. The Chicago sideline saying it's their ball.
I think it is. I don't think Dan Whalen was able to move the pile at all, and it is Chicago ball.
So the Spartans go for it on their own 41-yard line, and they fail to make the extra half yard for the first down. And Chicago takes over in Case territory, down by a score of 14-10.
I don't like the hurried approach to that play. I think for the Spartans, they'd have been better off to come to the line, see what was there, and use all 40 seconds of the play clock. They used just 15. It seemed like Whalen lost his footing as he approached the line as well.
Exactly 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Great to have you with us today for broadcast coverage of Case Western Reserve football, 14-10. Spartans leading the University of Chicago here today at Case Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Francis Adarkwa back on the field as the quarterback. They'll go to Wolf, but whistles blow, and they stop that play. I don't believe they got the play off in time. It's a delay of game against the University of Chicago. Let's go down to the sideline and check in with Nick Stroud.
Well, guys, let's see how this Spartans defense responds. I think it's obvious that they're not used to this formation that Chicago's been running. I overheard defensive coordinator Marcus McCullough telling his team on the sidelines, guys, number 4 is making you look silly out there. I don't care what kind of formation they're running. You need to have better pursuit of the football.
Nick, thank you very much, and he's right. This is certainly a different wrinkle that Case has not seen from anyone else yet this year. Adarkwa carrying it. Jeff Brown getting through the line and throws Adarkwa for a loss. Back behind the 45, they'll mark him down at the 47.
Well, with this formation, we talked about it, Chicago becomes one-dimensional. Adarkwa has yet to throw a pass out of this formation. They've run almost 20 plays offensively. They only have 2 pass attempts all afternoon. I think the linebackers need to be a little bit more active in their pursuit of the football.
Brown was that time. He comes on a blitz again. Adarkwa running straight up the middle, and he is hit and stopped for about a 1-yard gain. Getting in there defensively for the Spartans, Dale English, as well as John Genovese. Brown was there as well. And it is 3rd and long now for the Maroons. 3rd down, 17.
Well, now you're in a situation where you might see him try to throw a pass, but then again, I don't think he'll throw the ball downfield. So everything's going to be within about 7 or 8 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Junior receiver Jay McGovern is wide left, but Adarkwa will keep it on the ground, dives for the 40, spins out close to the 35. They had to get to the 29 for a first down. So he'll be well short of the first down. It's 4th and about 8 to go now for the Maroons as the football is marked at the 37-yard line. Lisa Sala in there on the tackle of Adarkwa on that play. We'll hear from Lisa Sala coming up at halftime.
It's a 55-yard field goal, although they might pooch kick this because Verissimo also the kicker.
They will spot the football. They snap it straight to Verissimo, and it will be a punt, and it bounces, and it will be downed. We'll see if he downed it inside play or in the end zone. It was down at the 2-yard line. Now the recovering player for Chicago went diving for the ball and landed in the end zone.
Hey, his momentum carried him into the end zone. That should be a touchback.
It is going to be marked down at the 1-yard line, but the officials are now starting to have a conversation as the Spartans offense comes down toward the end zone to start this drive. It'll be marked at the 2. So the pooch kick does result in a punt that pins Case back very deep in their own territory with 6:55 to go here in quarter number 2. 14-10 Case in the University Athletic Association opener here at Case Field today. Full house backfield now with Checkenmeyer and Bush. They will hand it to Corey Checken, trying to get Whalen some room to work with, and doesn't gain much. Did not get to the 5, maybe 2 yards on the pickup for Corey Checken. They'll mark it down at the 4. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Spartans.
They get a bad spot to start with, and then the next play goes for 2 yards. You've put yourself in a deeper hole, I think. 2nd and 8 from inside your 5.
2nd down, 8. Whalen from the gun in his own end zone. Rolls to his right, looking downfield. He's going to go deep for Colasar. He's got to step on his man. He makes the catch at the 35. Falls forward down to the 37-yard line.
Colasar ran a little out and up and came back for the football as Whalen underthrew it to the inside.
Ryan Colasar's 20th reception of the season. And it looks like a penalty on the play is going to bring this catch back.
They're going to call Case for an ineligible man downfield.
Sean Nicely arguing the call on the part of the Spartans, but the call goes against Case, and they will move this one back half the distance to the goal line. It'll be marked back at the 2. 2nd down and 8 for Case, so they wipe that play out. Actually, it's now 2nd and 10 following the 2-yard penalty. 2nd down and 10 from the 2. Case operating deep in their own territory. Whalen will take the snap in the end zone. Now he's in trouble. Rushed out of the pocket. Sidesteps a tackler. Gets rid of the football, and it's deep downfield, intended for Nicely, and out of bounds, sailing over the Case bench. That was very close to a safety. Whalen somehow eluding the tacklers in the end zone.
You know, running out of room. Chicago using that end line as an extra defender, really pinning Whalen in the corner. Whalen heaved it downfield. I don't think he was looking for a completion more than just to get rid of the football in the area of a receiver.
Right now, 3rd down and 10 for the Spartans. Bill Deitman is checked in the backfield with Whalen. 3 receivers out on the left side. Whalen calls out the signals. Maroons showing blitz here. The middle linebacker, Jared White, sneaking in. Now a whistle, and it's a delay of game, and this will move it back to the 1-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 11 as the Spartans failed to get the playoff before the 25-second clock wound down, and the Spartans will take a timeout. 5:46 to play here in the second quarter. 14-10 Spartans. Back after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Yeah, it runs long. We're okay. Well, on 3rd down and 10, Dan Whalen fires it out, intended for Zach Homick. The pass incomplete to Homick on the near sideline, near the Case bench, and that brings about 4th down and 10 for the Spartans, and Whalen will have to punt from underneath his own goalpost, Ed, and this is a position the Spartans have not been in this year.
Well, he's got a short field to kick on. He's kicking into a stiff wind. Chicago should get the ball near the Case 30-yard line.
Very low snap, and Whalen had that one, I believe, partially tipped or shanked badly, and it goes out of bounds near the Chicago sideline at the 24-yard line. So that will be a 23-yard kick and out of bounds, and that's where the Maroons will start, down by a score of 14-10 to the Spartans with 5:37 to go here in the first half. So the Spartans unable to move the ball downfield once they were pinned back at the 2-yard line. Adarkwa is the quarterback. Wolf in motion. They will hand to Clay Wolf, and he wants to throw it. Pump fakes once, and then he's knocked out of bounds as his intended target not open downfield. He was looking downfield for Joe Stoner, but Stoner not open, and Wolf has to run it out of bounds. That loses 6 yards, and it's 2nd down and 16 from the from the Case 30-yard line. We're at Case Field today. Spartans 14, University of Chicago 10. Wolf in motion again. They fake the handoff. Adarkwa will keep it, runs behind a block, gets back to the 28-yard line. Tackled right there by Ben Klabina and Luis Gonsalves.
You know, the defense has done their job this afternoon, really forced Chicago into some situations they may not want to be in. A lot of 3rd and longs for the Maroons this afternoon.
Well, right now, looking at a 3rd down and 14 to go with 4:53 to play here before halftime. 14-10 Case. Maroons with the football deep in Case territory. Adarkwa wants to run it. Breaks around the right side. Hit and pushed back. Still on his feet. Finally tackled at the 32-yard line. Lisa Sala, Ben Klabina, Jeff Brown, all in there. And Ed, as you have alluded to a couple times today, absolutely no imagination right now as far as the offensive scheme is concerned. It's a snap to Adarkwa, and he is running the football.
See, now that's a bad spot to put the ball back at the 25 because Adarkwa ran into a wall at the 25, spun away from tacklers, and bubbled back towards the 30 where he was dragged down. They marked his forward progress all the way to the 25-yard line.
Here is a kick. Field goal attempt by Verissimo. It is up, and it is no good. He pushed it off to the right. That was a 42-yard attempt from the 25-yard line, and so the Spartans will take over after the missed field goal. Verissimo is now 1 for 2 on the day, kicking field goals, and it's still a 14-10 football game. The Spartans will take over at the 25. Point well taken, Ed. He, on that run, decided to stay on his feet and voluntarily ran back as he was being tackled. But it all comes out in Case's favor as they have the football. Whalen to throw, dumps it off, and possibly a pass interference call coming here as they hit Webster with a pass at the 29-yard line. He had a man on his back, but no flag. The pass completed out to the 29, 4-yard pickup.
Steve Silamos was all over him, actually made contact while the football was in the air, which is an automatic 15-yard penalty.
No flag comes out, and the Spartans have it. 2nd down and 6 from the 29. Whalen guns it out. It's caught by Colasar across the 35, and a 1st down to the 37-yard line. They pick up 8 on the hookup with Colasar. Brian Colasar with the catch. That is his 2nd catch today. 1st and 10 Case. Whalen rolls out to his right. Holmick on the right sideline is covered. Whalen makes for the sideline, and he steps out of bounds.
It'll officially go as a sack as Whalen will lose a yard on the play.
Chris Center and Matt Sargent, the defensive lineman for the University of Chicago, had their helmets hooked up after they collided and ended up having to take their helmets off and get them pried apart.
The Maroon secondary doing a nice job. No deep safety in the formation. Case with 4 wide receivers, and Chicago showing press coverage.
Whalen directing traffic at the line of scrimmage. Bush is in the backfield. Holmick is alone on the right. 3 receivers on the left side. Webster nicely, and Colasar to Holmick. He makes the catch as he got a step on his man, but then he's tripped up near midfield. That one goes for close to 12 yards to the Case 49-yard line, and Holmick just tripped up at the last second, or he would have broken free for a touchdown.
Chicago with a 6-man defensive secondary, 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers. They were bringing a blitz as well. If Holmick could have stayed on his feet, he would have run forever. Nobody in the defensive secondary as everybody was in the box.
2:46 to go, 2nd quarter, 14-10 Case. Whalen back to throw, 1st down play. He'll wing it to Holmick. He makes the catch, and he's tackled at the 43-yard line of the Maroons. That's a pickup of 6, 2nd down, and a long 3 coming up for Case as they march downfield now. Case holding after having to give up the football at their own 24-yard line. Chicago missing the field goal. Case now marching into Maroon territory. 2nd down, 2. Football marked at the 43-yard line. Whalen takes the snap. Standing back at midfield, guns it across the field to Colasar. He makes the catch for the 1st down, pays the price as he is hit hard. The hit applied by Steve Silamos, the safety, but it's a 1st down for Case as they mark the football now at the 36-yard line of the Maroons. Under 2 to play now here in the 2nd quarter. Coming up at halftime, Nick Stroud will catch up with Greg Debelak and get the coach's perspective on the 1st half. I'm sure Greg will mention the turnovers. 3 so far today for the Spartans, but still leading it. Whalen is going to be hit, and he will be sacked. He gets rid of the football before he went down, and it falls incomplete. Very dangerous pass. Falls incomplete, but he avoids the sack.
He was looking for Brian Webster, hoping Webster would come back for the football. Chicago on that play, Dave, had 7 defensive backs in the ball game. They were going with that last play, 3 down linemen, 1 linebacker, 7 defensive backs on the field for Chicago.
We'll see how they line it up here again. And it looks about the same. Ed, they might have 2 linebackers in there now with the 3-man front. Whalen will take the snap in the shotgun. Meyer out of the backfield. It's tipped and knocked down. Trace Capps, the freshman lineman, got his paw up there and knocked that pass down. 3rd down and 10 now for the Spartans from the Maroon 36-yard line with 1:34 to go here in the 2nd quarter at Case Field.
Well, the Maroons have figured out a way to slow down the passing attack. I think it's the first time this season we've seen a dime package consistently from an opponent. Last week, Hiram went with a 4-4 and only had 3 defensive backs for 4 wide receivers. Chicago has found a way to slow that down. Case is going to need to get the running game going.
4 receivers set in the game right now at 3rd and 10. Whalen in the shotgun, has Meyer blocking. Goes to Nicely, makes the catch at the 30, 25, 20, down to the 15, hits a man, knocked down, out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Chicago showed a blitz. They brought a blitz. The receivers all took the defensive backs deep downfield. That created a void in the middle of the field where Nicely was able to catch the ball coming across the middle.
Nicely out of bounds at the 11-yard line, 25-yard hookup from Whalen to Nicely and a first down. They'll go to Bill Deitman, turns right corner to the 10, down to the 5, spins, knocked down, close to the goal line. He is not in the end zone. They'll mark him down at the 1-yard line. Deitman with a 10-yard run and nearly made it in with a second effort.
That's the 3rd time today we've seen that sweep to the right pick up big yardage. Twice down here inside the red zone for the Spartans as Meyer scored on a play similar to that earlier in the game.
Down on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. Checking is in. Full house backfield with Bush and Meyer. Whalen calls out the signals. Takes the snap. They'll go and hand a check and puts his head down. He's in for a touchdown. Case touchdown. Corey Checkin with his 8th touchdown run of the season, and the Spartans extend the lead back to 10 now at 20-10 with 1 minute to go in the second quarter.
Well, Case has overcome 3 turnovers in this first half. They've overcome a bad spot, which put them under their own goal post. They've come back from a shank punt. Defense has held its own and currently looking for an 11-point lead.
Coffey with the kick, and it is up, and it is good. 21-10, Case leading it with 60 seconds to go in the second quarter. We'll step away for this 30-second timeout. Back with the final minute of the first half on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Well, the Spartans score to extend the lead now to 21-10. Corey Checkin finishing off that drive with a 1-yard touchdown run. Checkin now with 8 touchdowns on the season. 21-10, Spartans leading it by 11. Kickoff coming up for Sam Coffey. He'll put the foot into it, going left as it drifts down to the 10-yard line. Taken there by the fullback, Joe Steelman. He'll bring it back across the 25. He dives out close to the 28-yard line, and that is where the football will be marked for the Chicago Maroons.
You have to wonder if Chicago's going to come out with a traditional quarterback here for the final minute, see if they can run a 2-minute offense.
Well, we saw Marshall Oyam start the football game, the sophomore. Francis Adarkwa has piloted the team most of the first half, the freshman tailback. And now they bring back in the senior, John Kiernan, who has seen limited action here today after spraining his ankle in last week's game against Denison. He'll hand this one to Steelman, who is tripped up at the 25-yard line and loses 3 yards.
Are my notes correct that Chicago does not have a passing yard?
There are no passing completions today, Ed, for the Maroons. 0 for 2. Oyam is 0 for 1. Kiernan is 0 for 1. And a timeout has been taken to stop the clock with 48 seconds left to go here in the second quarter.
Well, I think Case is going to use them since they got them and see if they can force the ball to get back on the turf. They have one more timeout. They'll force Chicago to snap the ball at least 2 more times.
And we have seen Case this year utilize the final seconds of a half to sneak in some extra points, and they have done that to great effect so far. Case 7-0, Chicago 2-4. This is the conference opener for both teams. The Spartans will be at home next Saturday as well against Carnegie Mellon, in the Academic Bowl. 2nd down and 13. Kiernan calls out the signals. 3 receivers in the game for the Maroons. Stillman in at fullback. Kiernan rolls out, wants to throw, lets it go to the sideline, over the top and out of bounds. Intended for Jay McGovern, the junior out of Milan, Michigan.
Now, with Case only having 1 timeout left in the first half, I don't understand the pass play there from Chicago. If they run the football, Case only uses their timeout. Chicago has to snap the ball 1 more time. Now it's 3rd and long. Case has a timeout left. Chicago's actually going to have to kick the football away. They've already had a kick block this afternoon.
It's a 3rd and 13. Very important play here for Chicago with 42 seconds left in the first half. Kiernan will go back, hand up the middle to Adarkwa. He has no running room. He is gang tackled. Jeff Brown leading the charge there as they knock down Adarkwa. Also in there on the play, Rich Doolin wrapped up Francis Adarkwa, the nimble freshman running back, and Case calls it timeout. It is 4th down and 13 from the 25-yard line with 37 seconds left. And Ed, really, any way you slice it here, this has gone very much in Case's favor.
Well, it was excellent coaching, I can say, on Greg Debelak and his staff's use of timeouts and forcing Chicago maybe to think on their feet in a situation they didn't want to. Dick Maloney, I don't believe, ran that final minute very intelligently by throwing a pass on 2nd down, save Case a timeout. Greg Debelak just went out and talked to his deep man. That's Colasar, check that. That's Nicely back to catch the football. I think he told Nicely to take the fair catch. Case will have about 30 seconds to maybe move down, try a field goal, or let Dan Whalen throw one into the end zone.
And with this offense, which ranks 6th in the country, 37 seconds is a long time. Here is the snap back to Verissimo. He gets the kick away, end over end. Nicely goes back, makes the catch, did not signal for the fair catch. He's leveled, but hangs on to the football at the 38-yard line. They'll actually mark him down at the 40, but Nicely did not ask for the fair catch. And he had a man right in his face as that ball arrived.
Well, 30 seconds for the Case offense to work.
They lead it 21-10 right now over the University of Chicago. Final half minute of play here in the 2nd quarter. Corey Checken is in the backfield. 4 receivers in for the Spartans. 2 on each side. Whalen sets up in the shotgun. Calls out the signals. There's the snap. Drops back to throw. Looking downfield. Nicely on the crossing pattern. Makes the catch at midfield. To the 45, out of bounds near the 41-yard line. 19-yard pickup for the Spartans on the first play of the drive as Nicely hauls in his 4th pass of the day.
Well, Chicago's in a very balloon defense with 6 defensive backs. They have 5 in the box, including 2 linebackers. Both of those are either blitzing or holding near the line of scrimmage. It creates a huge void in that crossing pattern for Colasar or Nicely to sit in there.
Ball marked on the left hash mark. Case moving left to right. 23 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. 21-10 Case. Whalen goes up, checks off at the line of scrimmage. Calls a new play. 3 receivers on the right, 1 on the left. That's Colasar alone on the left side. Checking in the backfield. Whalen steps through the pocket. Now he tucks it under, and he will be tackled at the 41-yard line. Case cannot stop the clock with a timeout. They'll get up. Whalen will try and spike the ball. 10 seconds left. They get Nicely lined up. There's the spike, and it stops the clock with 6 seconds left, and there's some fighting. Some words exchanged down on the line as some players start to get a little chippy down there.
Well, one of the Maroons really blew up Tony Opperman on the line. It was a known spike. Whalen had fired the ball into the turf. And one of the defensive linemen for Chicago would come up hard and put both hands into the shoulder pads of Tony Opperman and knocked him back a little bit.
I believe that was Dexter McCauley who got a little hot under the collar down there. So 6 seconds left here in the quarter, and they'll have at least one more play here. Whalen will roll out. Everybody heading down to the end zone, and Whalen guns it down there. Holmick is there. It's up for grabs, and it is going to be incomplete as it bounces off some hands. About 3 guys touch the football, including Holmick, but it falls incomplete. And the Spartans fail to score here after getting the football back, but they do hold a 21-10 lead here at halftime.